you. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to be here today. Boy, wasn't that Stan thoughtful.
How's that?
Well, he got us these neat little clip-on mics instead of those big, heavy handheld things.
Yeah, those things can get heavy sometime, as we know.
Hi there, I'm Greg Rice.
Wait a minute. You're not Greg Rice. I'm Greg Rice. You're John Rice.
Oh, yeah, that's right. If you think this is bad, you should see us on a double date.
I don't want to interrupt you or anything, but we need to take care of some business, or we're not going to get paid.
Hey, wait a minute. We're getting to have all this fun, and we're going to be paid, too?
That's right.
Well, that's good, because I must look like I need the money.
You look like you need the money?
Yeah, when I was coming through the lobby today, some guy told me I look like Johnny Carson after alimony.
In this talk, Stan is going to share with us a step-by-step formula.
Let me tell him about it.
Okay, go ahead.
Today, Stan is going to tell us how to reward ourselves, how to set and achieve goals, how to improve our self-esteem, how to pass along something good every day, and how to become our very best.
That sounds neat. What's it called?
The best is yet to come.
Catchy title.
Yeah, well, that reminds me about...
I don't want to interrupt you, but we need to be in a hurry.
Why is that?
Well, Stan told us to keep this thing short and to the point.
Well, that's the only way I know how. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Stan Ballou.
Thank you. Thank you. The first of the 5 steps is to develop our potential. We've all been given some great gifts, some great talents, but it's up to each of us to develop that potential. There's a story about the preacher that was out for the Sunday drive in the horse and carriage, and he was passing this beautiful farm and stopped and got out and was admiring the white picket fence, the beautiful rolling hillside of green pasture, the house with the meticulously painted shutters and the shrubs and the flowers. It was just a beautiful, magnificent estate. And the farmer that lived there happened to be in the house looking out the window, saw the preacher, and walked down to the road to chat with him. And they were talking for a while, and the preacher said, "You know, son, you sure have been blessed. God has sure blessed you with a magnificent farm." The farmer was kind of taken back, and he looked around at all that he had, and he said, "You know, preacher, he has, but you should have seen it when he had it all to himself." You see, we've all been given some great gifts, some great talents, but indeed it is up to each of us to develop our full potential. Realize that we can be a lot greater if we really believe that we can. Most people don't desire more out of life because they really don't believe they deserve any more out of life. You know, too many of us have a tendency to get into comfort zones where we're just finding ourselves doing the same things day in and day out, year after year. Take a look at your own situation and ask yourself, how long have you been doing what you're doing for a career? Let's say it's 10 years. Do you have 10 years experience, or do you have 1 year's experience 10 times? A lot of people just have that 1 year's experience 10 times because they aren't growing. There's a famous saying that when you're green, you grow, and when you're ripe, you rot. And too many of us have a tendency to get into those comfort zones, get into those ruts. And the best definition I've ever heard of a rut is that it's a grave with both ends knocked out. So if you're in that rut, please get out of it. Don't try to copy or emulate anyone as you're developing your potential. Just the challenge we're all faced, I believe, is just to become the best you that you can possibly become. Don't ever try to be somebody else, just the best you that you can become. Remove your limitations, because we're the only ones that hold people back. What is your first name?
Bob.
Bob, I'll guarantee you that when you came down the conveyor belt of life, there was not an angel at the end of it saying, let's see, Bob, Bob, Bob. Ooh, 25, 28,000 a year. What's your first name? What is it? What's your name? Elena. Elena. Let's see. Ooh, 45, 50,000 a year. What's your first name?
Ron.
Ron. Ooh, 16,000 tops. Nobody put those limitations on you. We have a tendency to put those limitations on ourselves, and we need to get rid of those limitations. Again, the human mind left by itself will come up with more negatives than it will positives, and we need to get rid of those limitations and know indeed that we can accomplish a lot more if we're just willing to develop our potential. Dr. Bob Schuller out in California has a beautiful saying. You might want to write this down. What big dreams would we dream if we knew there wasn't a chance that we could fail? What big dreams would we really dream if we knew there wasn't a chance that we could fail? But you see, every time we run into something new, we start to believe or think of or come up with all of the reasons why we can't do it. It's okay for somebody else, but not for us. And it is okay for each of us to have that bigger bite out of life, to develop our full potential. One of the best stories I've ever heard about somebody developing their full potential was a gentleman by the name of Charlie Boswell. I don't know whether you heard of him or not, but he's a blind person. He went on to become the world's greatest blind golfer. Charlie Boswell. One day he met Arnold Palmer in his prime and went up and introduced himself and said, you know, someday I'd like to shoot you around to golf. And Palmer was being polite and he said, well, sure, that's nice. Boswell said, no, I'm serious. He said, I'd like to play you around to golf, $1,000 a hole. And Palmer kind of smiled and he says, come on. He said, I know you're good, but you're blind. It'd be like taking candy from a baby. Boswell said, $1,000 a hole. You choose the course, I'll choose the date. Palmer said, all right. He said, we'll play Augusta. When do we play? Boswell said, any night. There you go. The best is yet to come. How to reward ourselves, how to set and achieve goals, how to develop our self-esteem, how to pass on something good every day, and how to develop our full potential. Again, how can we benefit from this module? Just pick out one of those 5 different ideas. Write it down on the form of a positive affirmation on a 3x5 card. Carry that with you. Refer to it for a solid week. And then the following week, go back and pick out a second one. Write that down and practice and drill and rehearse and make that part of your life to develop our full potential. Since I've moved to the Orlando, Florida area, I've got to really appreciate the genius of Walt Disney. Here's a gentleman that indeed believed the best is yet to come, because he filed bankruptcy 13 times before he finally made it. And then when he made it, he's left a legacy that literally brings enjoyment to millions of people around the world every year. Disney's philosophy was so very simple. Think about the values and the principles that guide you. Believe in yourself. Dream about those things that you want to be and do. And then dare to live your dreams. If we will all dare to live our dreams, indeed, the best is yet to come. I thank you and I wish you all a fantastic future. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.